So I saw Avatar in 3D last week, and overall, I couldn't expect much more. Um, but let's just jump right into the 3D. Was it worth the money? If you feel like shelling out, what I don't know what I spent, like 12 or something bucks or whatever it was. Um, if you feel like shelling out that much money and you're not like, expecting it to be, the best 3D movie you've seen, then you won't be too disappointed. Like, I haven't seen a 3D movie before, and but they didn't really, use it that frequently. Like, if there was stuff in the foreground, like embers coming down from a fire or whatever, or like, leaves or something, then you would see it, and the subtitles were easier to read because they kind of stuck out from the rest of the picture. But overall, I mean, it really wasn't being implemented as a way to really impress you. I mean, it was just meant to round out the whole package. So if you don't feel like spending the extra money, you're not really missing out a whole lot. But if you don't mind it, then you'll probably walk away content. It wasn't a complete waste. But as far as the whole movie goes, like, without giving away any spoilers, what happens is like the Marines or the Army or whatever, they want to obtain something that this other race has, and so they use these avatars to. It's almost like a Matrix thing. You get into this bed or whatever, and it will it'll send your brain signals to this avatar thing, and looks just like them. So they use them to infiltrate, and he goes in, and his mission is to get information, become one of them, earn their trust, so that he can get details. And so I'm not gonna say what really happens to the character, but he has to decide which side he's gonna choose, and it's pretty interesting. Although somewhat predictable. The whole movie is somewhat predictable, but in the end, you won't really be disappointed. The only thing that kind of bugged me about it was you get a good 2 hours and 15 minutes of story, which is a great thing. Don't get me wrong. But the final action scene, is only about half an hour, which most 3-hour movies are around 3-hour movies. The final action scene is closer to an hour. Good example is Lord of the Rings. All those the final war scene is about an hour. So, but overall, I mean, it was a pretty darn good movie. The special effects are fantastic. Seeing the forest change at night is pretty incredible. I'd say watch it. I mean, it's worth your money. You won't walk away that disappointed. It's pretty appropriate for everyone. There's one really, PG-13 type sex scene in it, and it's done in good taste, which is great because, it's so many movies, it's just like, my word, I feel like I'm watching a freaking porno, and I got my parents next to me, and it's totally weird and awkward, and it really limits the amount of people I can watch the movie with. But anyway, overall, great movie. Watch Avatar. If I was to give it a score out of 10, I'd probably give it I'd give it an 8.5 out of 10. It was a good movie. So check out Avatar. Watch it in 3D if you don't mind spending the money.